Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is a brand new series to the channel, one of my collection of 10 games that'll be active. This is Draft Day Sports College Football 2019. This is not my first game from Draft Day Sports that I have used. I still have an active game in Draft Day Sports College Basketball. That's the 2017 version. I've been at that series for quite a while. It too will soon see a change as it moves on to the 2019 edition. But for now, that's still active. Previously, I also had a Draft Day Sports Pro Golf series that lasted for a while. And now, coming to the channel here for the first time, the College Football Edition. And again, this is the brand new release. In fact, you can't even find this one on Steam yet. You would need to, if you wanted to play this game, head over to wolverinestudios.com. That's these guys right up here. Wolverine Studios, the makers of this game. Head to their website and you would find this there. This game has just gone into full release in the last about 4 days. Well, 5 days at the time that you're seeing this. Now, I have just picked up the game and I am not familiar with this one yet, other than I'm familiar with the similarities between this and their other games. So we'll have a little bit of a learning period here as I figure out what to do, how to do it, and so on. But bear with me through the first couple of episodes while we sort that part out. But otherwise, one thing that I have done to set this up is, of course, they have gone through, thanks to licensing, they've gone through and meticulously placed likenesses of real-life teams, but have been really careful not to have the actual teams. But the beauty of this and beauty of a court ruling recently is it is entirely possible to edit files and make things how you want it. So without any available mods to this brand new game, I have gone through myself and edited so far about half the files. I've got all of the correct conferences as of right now, and then I have the correct schools and the correct mascots for just about half of all of the FBS schools. So there's 130, and I've got about half of them renamed correctly, though the game logos and everything are still in place, and those will stay. I'm not going to go through and change all of those. The one exception possibly might be to my alma mater, the University of Oregon. But I'm not playing as the Ducks. So they come into this ranked number 11. But I am not going to do a playthrough as the Ducks. To me, that would be too easy. Ooh, it doesn't like that. But school prestige there, 85. That is a pretty dominant team. Ooh, are you going to work for me here? Yes, maybe. And yes, the Ducks have not won a championship in real life. At least not in football. But they are very much one of the elite teams these days. And they've had a couple of years down here as we've gone through the coaching carousel. But they're very much a team capable of winning a championship. Sure, I want to be capable of winning a championship in this game too. But if you know my channel, that's not how my channel works. My channel is about growth. It's about starting at the bottom. It's lower league manager style. Start at the bottom, fight your way to the top, and then go for that championship. And so, I'm going to be, and this is a crossover from my other college series, from the college basketball series, the Olympic Decathlon Gamers. Now, the AKA for this, and I won't be referring to them more than the first 2 or 3 episodes just for familiarization, but it was San Jose State. So I have taken over San Jose State. I'm going to be participating in the Mountain West, in the West Division of the Mountain West, alongside Fresno State, San Diego State, Nevada, Hawaii, and UNLV. So that is the conference that I'm in. Now, what I have also done to make this the most challenging series is that, for one thing, the team rankings of all 130, San Jose State was in the bottom 10. And they were the lowest ranked West Coast team. And I was looking specifically for a West Coast team so that when I pick them up and move them over to Portland, which is not exactly where I live, but pretty close to where I live, and it is where I was born, that I could still be in the right place. And that's why I intentionally went for Mountain West. And not one of the big conferences, not one of the big 5 conferences like the Pac-12. So with that, here we are. We are the Olympic Decathlon Gamers, ODG for short. We have grass field. We're going to go with green and aqua colors, so that'll be a little bit different out there. And I have some custom logos. Hopefully the end zone art is done correctly. I might have to make adjustments in between the first game or 2 to get that set up, as you have lots and lots of blank space for that one to go how it should go. But here is our team schedule as we're going to get things going here. I'm gifted with a lot of home games in this opening season, and only a handful of road games. I had nothing to do with this. This was the schedule that I took over when I renamed San Jose State. So there's that. One thing that I've also done is I have gone through at least the teams that I'll be playing in this opening season, and like Texas State got them switched over to the Bobcats, just for clarity on that part. But just about ready to get things going. There's one other key thing that I did to truly make this a challenging series that's in it for the long haul and not the short haul. The first part was that in that school info, I have dropped our prestige to the lowest out of all 130 teams. No, I did not go down to 1, but 35 was bad enough to make us 130 out of 130. There are a small handful of teams that are somewhere between 35 and 40, but I haven't seen anything else. Like I said, I've only changed half the files so far, so the other half I have not gotten through to see what their school prestige was, but I did kind of look through at a glance. So I've seen close to 75%, and from what I've seen, 35 is bad enough to be the lowest. The second thing that I have done is myself, the coach. I'm not going to suddenly make this team amazing. In fact, I'm going to make this team pretty bad for a good while. And I hope that, like their other games, like their college basketball game, coming from Wolverine Studios, this Draft Day Sports game, well, hopefully there is growth in me, because you can see that I am awful. I've set myself up as the most awful of coaches. I have a 1 in every category. Every. So from personality through training, through scouting, through strategy, it is all a 1. Now, the one that makes me a little nervous is personality, because I know that in Draft Day Sports college basketball, personality doesn't change. This one is locked in and has more to do with recruiting than anything else. But your training, your scouting, well, and there's another strategy is not part of that other, but the training, scouting, those kind of areas, those categories grow over time as you develop as a manager. So we'll see. We'll see if I have shot myself in the foot making this a very, very difficult playthrough with starting at bare bones and trying to grow into this series. Now, luckily, I do have a couple of decent coaches in Daniel Bridges and Clifford Kirkwood backing me up. But with that, I think you've waited long enough. Let's try to get into the game and see what can be done. One quick glance up here. Our budget, $11 million. We have $5 million spent on the coaching staff, and our scouting, well, that's $6 million left to spend. So thanks to myself being so crappy, my salary being so low. I mean, my assistant coaches are making twice what I'm making. So if I were making $4 or $5 million, there would not be much left. So the nice thing is we will have some money to spend in scouting. It's just going to be really difficult to do and to recruit players with the prestige set so low and my recruiting ability set so low. We'll see. All right, let's get to it. So overall, in the standings, the other half, the other division, the Mountain Division, is Boise State, Colorado State, Utah State, Wyoming, Air Force, and New Mexico. Historically, if you're not familiar with the Mountain West, the prestige here is a 57, which is fairly low for the conferences. There are two teams that dominate year in and year out in this conference. Boise State and Nevada have been at the top most years. I know Utah State's had some good years, Colorado State's had some good years, and then Air Force occasionally comes along, though it is more commonly the other part of the trio of armed forces colleges in Nevada, Navy, and then occasionally Army, and go West Point, because I'm an Army vet myself, and I have some friends that went to West Point. But yeah, Army, Black Knights, they were actually really good this year. Alright, so in comparison here, let's put ourselves, and I glanced through here as well and did not find anything lower than a 35. You can see here Old Dominion, which I have not transferred them over yet, but Old Dominion, a 39. We have that full roster of 85 players. We have an okay-ish average of 75.3. It's not going to win us a lot of games, especially with a terrible, terrible coach who just absolutely needs to be fired. Please don't fire me. Please don't fire me. But we have, let's see, a 25, 7, and 7. Let's see what those are here real quick. So fan base is a 25, so it's pretty low, but it is set to that minimal standpoint of, yes, you'll get some fans, but fan approval bandwagon 7-7. So if we're doing well, we should theoretically get some bigger crowds coming out from time to time. Here's another 38, Texas State. That's our opening game, actually. Western Michigan, a 42. See, no one's lower than a 25, so that's kind of the base point there. And in terms of that ability, I've seen a couple 73s, a few 73s, but I have not seen one team worse than a 73. So us being at a 75 means it's possible we'll win a game or two this first year, but it's going to be so hard for me to recruit that we could absolutely fall apart a year from now. And it's going to be hard for me to train players as well, as, again, they've got a lousy coach. All right, so moving on here, let's take a look at actually, let's go to our roster here and just look at the overall. At some point, I need to start advancing the league and getting us going. But that's going to take some recruiting and other things. And honestly, I know how this works in the college basketball game. But like I said, I'm still getting my feet underneath me for this one. But it looks like I have. How about we go quarterback? Position by position. So quarterback only, I actually have a high average. So I've got a pretty good set of quarterbacks. I've got a good senior quarterback at 84, but I also have a redshirt sophomore waiting in the wings right behind him, who's pretty dang good. So I've got some depth at quarterback, and that's going to help this season a lot. At running back, not quite the depth. I have, 3 decent ones, and our best is a sophomore, so we'll be able to hang on to him for a while, and I certainly like that. Very weak at fullback. I do have 4 of them, but I don't know how much any of these guys will actually be used. Our best is a true freshman. I think I am set up to be a spread hybrid. I'm going to have to go through and probably change and select everything. By the way, here's another thing I just noticed. My count, 21, 21, 21, and 22. Very balanced for our roster here. Tight ends, 91 in Henry Brooks. So Henry Brooks, an 80 for hands. He'll be able to keep that ball pretty well and help us move the chains a bit. I've also got a sophomore at 85 behind him. So thank you. Wide receiver, a couple really good ones there as well. Both seniors, though, that's going to hurt. And they're only 2-star ratings. How is that? Incredible speed. Nobody has great hands, though. But I've got really good speed in two receivers, so that's good. Good to know. And that'll certainly help with the spread. At the guard position, okay, this is a problem. This is a problem. I got a couple 77s, redshirt freshmen. I like that part. But yeah, we're very weak at the guard position and the tackle position and the center position. So I have no offensive line. I've got 3 punters, 3 kickers, so at least there's depth at every position. Defensive tackle. So looking on this other side of the ball, we're not going to get much pressure on the ball. Michael Tennant, a 74 is the best we've got. He's a junior. Defensive end, there's an 88. So he's a senior, sadly. But there is at least one quality player there. So we'll get some pressure on the ball from time to time. Very weak at linebacker. Cornerback, though, I do have an 81 here. And a redshirt freshman. Oh, thank you. And a 79. The next best is also a redshirt freshman. And then we've got a little bit of depth here. So, hopefully. And with some decent safeties as well. Senior safety here is an 83. And the free safety, 87, 85. Okay, so I'm not going to get a whole lot of pressure on the ball, which makes me nervous. And the other teams are going to be able to push us and push us and push us if they want to run. But if they're going to try to throw, I've at least got some talent in the backs. So that's something. That's something. And I do have a few talented players on offense, but I don't have a line either side of the ball. So You can see exactly where we are going to be in a bit of trouble this season and what we're going to be trying to overcome. Let's see. I know I'm going to need to set a depth chart before we get going too far. But training. I'm not even sure how or what to do here for training. Okay. So, how do I want to do this? This is all brand new to me. And I'm assuming, yeah, it's March 1st. It's just training camps. So training is definitely a big one, and it looks like we can do 25 points for each guy, and I'm assuming we'll see everybody's at 20 right now. Well, I don't think we need a lot of game tape right now. I think we need a lot of improvement. It's March. So if we turn the game tape down to, like, say, a 2, or even a 1, we can then... Does it go higher? Oh, it does. It goes as high as you want it to go. Maybe keep these balanced. That's 31. That's too high by 6. So lower these each to 8. And it's balanced. Maybe we'll try that. Now, can I do all? Okay. This is the list everybody's assigned, apparently. I don't know if I get more than one list. I don't see additional lists. I think it's just kind of all team training. But it might not be. I'll have to mess with that in between episodes and see kind of how and what I get. But for now, I guess we're going to get full team training like this. And let's see, did it save it? It did. Okay. And I don't have... It's all grayed out there for now. There we go. Playbook. Okay, I would have to customize it through here. Here we go. Okay, I'll just default. Interesting. Okay, it looks like I would have to really get into customizing this playbook before okay, so run pass ratio. So we want to pass 54%. Well, on a spread, you're going to get a lot of little flicks. First is short. Okay, well, this is something I'm going to learn and adapt over time. I know we're not going to be able to be on that all day. So we'll get into that depth over time. Now, here's the tricky part. It's recruiting. Now, there is auto-recruiting, and I really hope that they have updated how recruiting is done. Quarterback out of Bend, Oregon, number 9. There's no way we're getting this guy. He's too high, but by state will certainly help. And let's see, how do we get into this? Okay, there we go. Drop down menu. Let's look at the Oregon guys, because as low as the prestige is, as low as my recruiting ability is, I am probably not getting out of the state of Oregon terribly well when it comes to recruiting. So I'm going to have a lot of these weaker guys. Now, I don't necessarily want to go for a 1-star recruit, but a bunch of 2- and 3-star recruits are absolutely what I would love to get. I doubt I'm going to get my hands on a 4-star recruit, but because it is Oregon, I will try. Okay, I'm just going to go through and add all of these 3 stars from Oregon, regardless of position. And I'm going to add the 2 stars as well. I'll leave off that 1 star. Now, how many is that? 22. If we're going to get 21, we're going to need more than just that. Because we're definitely not going to get all of them. So why don't we go ahead and visit Washington. And we're going to add all of the 3 stars. So we'll start with Oregon and Washington. Now I've got 55 and counting. So now we've got a decent target list. $68 recruits. Alright, I think that's a decent list. Now, the reality is all these guys, Vancouver, Camas, literally right across the Columbia River from Portland, Oregon, and Vancouver is where I live. So if we were a team based in Portland, those guys, that's like recruiting hometown. But the way the mechanics work on the Draft Day Sports games is it is state by state by state. So Washington, it doesn't matter what the hometown is. There is no proximity there. There's no mechanic for what city it is. It's just state by state. So anybody Oregon is seen as home state. Anybody Washington is seen as a nearby state. So your states that are touching don't have a big penalty. So that actually means I could go after California and Idaho as well, and potentially make some decent progress with those recruits. And if this list starts dropping real quick, I will very likely go after some 3-star or 2-star players in these nearby states. Okay, so apparently there's this thing called recruiting points. We have 208 of them. I don't know what that means. Scouting points is 62, and there are 22 scholarships. So what I'm going to try to do is... Okay, we've got targeted player. Let's take it off of state. Okay, let's get it back to all. So I'm getting my Oregon and Washington. Ah, okay. Assigning points and scouting points. Scheduling interviews, scholarships, getting scout. Okay. Now this would be recruiting points to try to develop interest. This one's going to be, and this is that Oregon guy, the 4-star recruit. So let's go just to targets. Alright, so now we've limited the list. I thought I limited more than just 3-star guys. Is that everybody? Oh, how about we try to go position by position again? It's such a cleaner way to look at things. So there are 2 quarterbacks on my list at all. That's total. Their recruit ranks are both pretty low. They're in a very, very similar spot. So why don't we go with... I want to get a look at these guys. I've got 62 scouting points and 68 recruits. I don't know what these scouting points are going to do for me. Why don't we spend 5 and we'll see what happens. And yes, it is using up those points. Hopefully this is kind of a weekly thing. And we will assign 5 points here. See if we can't develop some interest. Okay, and then on to running back. So I've got 4 here. One of them's a 2-star. That's definitely the more likely place of us grabbing one. But there's a couple decent ones here. I suppose I'm going to just try to go with 5 scouting points for this first week, kind of across the board till we use it up. We'll use the last 2 points on someone, and we'll see how much information we get, and maybe I go 10 recruiting points. Nah, we'll stick to 5. We'll stick to 5. I don't want to offer scholarships yet because I have no information, so I will hold off on that for now. Oh, fullback. No. I don't need I really don't need fullback. So I had 2 points, right? And, well, 3 here. So we'll go 2 and 1. Now I'll have a nice clean number. And we'll go 1 and 1. Now I've got those clean numbers. I could do that. Okay, on to tight end. So again with the 5 and 5, just to get things sorted out scouting wise. I'm nearly out. Alright, that's all the scouting points, but I still have recruiting points. And do I want to go the opposite direction with this? No. Let's stick with 5. Now it looks like the team is full of mostly 3-star recruits. Or at least they were 3-star recruits at one point. Now, actually, here's where I think I'm going to go ahead and invest some more. I have a terrible line, and I think this is something that desperately needs to be looked at. How about I cut you down to 5 as you're just a 2-star recruit? Now, it looks like there is auto. This can certainly be done in a way that's not micromanaged. And at various times, we will certainly look to do it that way. But how else to get into a game than to actually try out the mechanics and see how they work? Okay, that is all of the points for now, and that got us through offensive line. So this week we are recruiting offense. Okay, they're showing up. They just load up a bit slower. Okay, well anyway, there's our first week. We've done our recruiting. I think we're set up for training camps, so we're going to go ahead and advance the league, if it's going to let me. There it goes. Okay, so training camp. In-season training camp, so I don't know necessarily what the gain is, but a fullback gained 19, and a guard gained 16. So we've got some really good results there. These guys, not so good, but a lot of just -1s, so that's not bad. We did have a linebacker that things didn't go so well for him. Oh, wow. Okay, so training camp is like bang, 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 you're done, because now it's September 1st. So it is September 1st. Just like that. And I have 31 emails. Okay. Is this... Okay. 30 of the players got pushed too hard. That's the big point there. Let's see. Goodman was a superstar. Lay, the fullback, remarkable improvement. And then here's where we saw some things. And this was the guy who struck. Alright, let's go with delete all on those messages. And now, are we still at 31? You haven't updated yet. But setting red shirts is going to be that next thing, which means I need to get a roster going. Recruiting players, let's take a look. And no new points. No new points. That can't be all the points you get for the whole year. I still have no scouting report. Okay, we have an interest bar. And it gives you an actual number, so that's 4%. Report certainty. Okay. Oh, I like that. I very much like that part. And he's completely unscouted so far. So we have not gotten into that part yet. So what I set, which would be why I don't have any new points yet. What I set hasn't been carried out. Looks like you can add walk-on players where you need. Okay, so setting red shirts, that's certainly a big thing because if you're going to develop a team over time, you've got to redshirt some players. And I think I might have to get into the depth chart a little bit to start setting that. Will it reorder? Yes. Okay, so we have 2 seniors and a sophomore that are all in really good shape. So I absolutely want this guy to redshirt. So let's figure out how to make you redshirt. There we go. Alright, so we're going to redshirt the freshman. Oh, nice. Nice. It adds a little icon there. Okay. Running back. Put it by overall. These guys have all redshirted. He's a sophomore, but he could redshirt this year. As low as he is on the depth chart, and he is a 3-star rating. Let's go ahead and redshirt you, even though you are a sophomore. Our freshman's the best. So nobody's redshirting there, I guess. Tight end. Oh no. Just fatigue. Okay, you'll be fine. Ooh. He's the one that actually could use a red shirt. These guys already juniors. Eugene. Go ahead. Let's redshirt this season, huh? Wide receiver. I'm kind of thin at wide receiver. Now, see, both of these guys are 2-star recruits, and they got up to high 80s. So that's impressive. I'd like to redshirt this guy, but I don't know if I have enough players to do that. I'm only going to have 4 wide receivers if I redshirt him. So I'm not going to go there. That's not enough depth. Okay, now here I've got the option to do some redshirting for sure. Now, you got 2 on the field at a time, and you're going to want some depth behind him. There's 1 backup, but if an injury happens, I will need someone else. I cannot redshirt all 4 of these guys, but I could certainly redshirt some of them, and they are pretty close together. Strength, okay, agility, speed, hands don't matter, intelligence. Not sure. Run block, pass block. There we go. Run block and pass block. Not balanced for this guy. These ones are balanced. This guy is not balanced. That's very much pass blocker. Okay, tackling if we lose a ball. Not sure. Endurance. There we go. Oh, there's more. Okay, kick power, kick accuracy. We don't need those. So, strength. Strength's a big one. And these guys are more balanced. I think Kevin Slack might be the most ready to go of this bunch. So I'm going to redshirt Truman Teeter. And one of these guys will redshirt as well. Who's got the better strength? But you're balanced, so what do we have in these guys? See, they're not so balanced either. All right, we'll redshirt Putnam. Tackle. All upperclassmen, so they're not going to get redshirted. I just don't see the point in redshirting, like, say, a junior, unless they take a major injury that's going to cause them to miss the whole season. Okay, center, you only have one on the field, so you only need a depth of about 3, and we have a freshman who is third, but look how close he is to these other guys, so we're going to go ahead and redshirt him. That's an easy decision. All seniors? Ouch. One has redshirted. I need you for next year. You're gonna redshirt as a senior. Yeah, sorry, I just went there. At least I'll have one kicker. Dang. I'm gonna lose a lot of special teams guys. Now, same here. The sophomore is kind of our best option. But here, the freshman, you see how close he is to these guys. So we're going to go ahead and redshirt him and let the seniors behind him play. Defensive end. Okay, that's a senior at the bottom, but that's a whole bunch of freshmen in between. Maybe Thompson's good enough to play now at a 74, but we'll redshirt these other two. Okay, linebacker. Couple sophomores at the bottom. None of these guys have. That's kind of scary. I'm going to try to redshirt these bottom two. But that's a little bit risky, going that low on the depth chart. Okay, now I have quality corners. And I've got 2 freshmen that are both 74s. I think I only want to redshirt one, though, because I need that little bit of depth. And look at that. That's young cornerbacks that are good. Oh, thank you, thank you. We'll take the slower one. Redshirt him. Okay, strong safety. No one can redshirt from there. And finally, free safety. Sophomore, well below the others. Let's go ahead and have you redshirt this season. This is trying to look to the future a little bit. I definitely want to redshirt some of these guys to allow me to still have some players down the road. But there you go. So the task was set redshirts. Let's go ahead and advance the league. Yep. Okay, on to September 3rd. Okay, the players elect their captains. Okay, Bobby Lockett, Derek Gary, and Elvin Yates. Okay, recruiting time is here. I've got 21 scholarships available to offer. We can't have high hopes given the size of our program, but if you can bring in some upside recruits that we can use to build upon, the board will be happy. The athletic board is looking forward to seeing what you manage to bring in. All right. Recruiting. Well, maybe we just look at targets. There we go. The points that I already assigned are still assigned out. So at that point, it looks like we are ready to advance. I shouldn't have any... Yeah, there's no total spent yet. It's just assigned. And hopefully this changes on a week by week basis. So, looks like we're ready to get into things. We have hit the regular season. It's September 3rd, and I'm guessing if we look at our schedule... Oh, it just shows week 1. But that football icon's all lit up. So it looks like our first game is ready to go. But you're going to have to tune in to episode number 2 for that one, as I am out of time on this one. But don't fret. It's, let's see, 2 days away. So tune in again in a couple days from now as I continue the series and we get our first game as manager against the Texas State Bobcats underway. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer, and remember, I'm aiming for the best of the best. So if you're ready to join me on my journey, hit subscribe and tune in next time on my road to the record. Bye for now.